Word to your mother, boys and girls. It is your boy Sniper West coming at you here from WizardSportsPicks.com. And it is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. And this is yet another edition of the Wizards Crystal Ball with myself and the Wizard, where we just sit around and we talk shop. We talk about sports handicapping. Could be a multitude of sports. Obviously, the Super Bowl is over now. And we move forward to college basketball, mainly because the NBA is going to be on a break as well. Hockey's even on a break too. So this is as good a time as ever to discuss some college hoops and dive into that and some theories that we have. Whiz is going to go over his top 10 rankings and, who he thinks the top 10 teams are. And then maybe we can check the AP poll after that and do some comparisons. And maybe a couple handicapping tips here and there, but we only have a limited amount of time today. I believe about 10 or 15 minutes, so we should get right to it. Whiz, college basketball. It's that time of year, man.
Okay.
Time to dig in.
Yeah,
right?
Well, one thing I want to tell you is that this is the best freshman class that I've ever seen since 1981. So that's 45 years. The 1981 class was Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, and Chris Mullin.
Man.
And this is the best one since then because we have so many freshmen in my top 10. The three biggest is, Cameron Boozer, who would be my number one if I was drafting for the NBA. Darren, I would probably pick DeBansa from BYU second and Darren Peterson for Kansas third, only because Darren Peterson this year has played less games than more games. He's been injured a lot. He was out with the flu last time. He has so much talent, but the guy I would choose is Cameron Boozer. So that was the freshman class that I'm comparing with 1981. So let's start with the Wiz's top 10.
That is some. That's some. Yeah, let's do it.
Top 10, first pick, Michigan. I love Dusty May. Michigan has great depth. They go 9 deep. They have a great center in Ade Mara, who's a beast. They have Yaxel Landenberg, a forward. They just have depth. They have good guard play, well coached. Michigan would be my number one choice as of today. Number 2 would be Arizona.
All right.
They have another freshman that's great, K.O. Pete. Fantastic. He's a beast. They have Braden Burries too. Well coached. They bang the boards. They're just a solid team. That's number 2. Number 3 is the Houston Cougars. They have another great freshman that's not on my top 3 named Kingston Flemings. The guy's a score machine. He's the best combo guard in the country. He has tremendous pace, tremendous change of direction. You can't win the NCAA tournament without great guard play. And this is one of the better ones, Kingston Flemings for Houston. Number 4 is Duke. Duke, well coached, well balanced. Cameron Boozer, a beast. He'd be my number 1, as I said, NBA choice. That is number 4. Number 5, UConn, out in my neck of the woods, from the Big East. They have 3 really good players in Alex Karaban, a forward who is extremely experienced, Taris Reed, a center. They have Brayton Mullins, a young guard who's a great shooter. They're just a very solid team, well coached with Hurley. They, between them and the UConn women, it's just quite a story in NCAA basketball. Iowa State. So that would be number 6 for me. Well coached. They have they have depth. They have 3 really good players in Joshua Jefferson, Milan Mulovic, and Tamin Lipsy. That would be number 6. Number 7 would be Illinois, coached by Brad Underwood. They have another tremendous freshman guard. I might say he could be the best guard of them all in the country. Keaton Wagler, unbelievable. Doesn't turn the ball over. He drains buckets. He sets everybody up. Another great guard. You can't win without great guard play. So we're now number 8, right? Number
Yes.
8, Kansas. Uh, they have, maybe the best player in the country when he's healthy, Darren Peterson. He can play the 1, he can play the 2, he can play the 3. He reminds me of Kevin Durant. His jump shot when he extends is just unstoppable. Number 9. Um, I'm just a big Tom Izzo fan. I got to put Michigan. You can't underestimate Tom Izzo, especially in March. They have Jeremy Fears, another great guard. They play. You're talking about one of the great coaches of all time. They on their best day they could play with anyone. Number 10. I didn't. I skipped Iowa State. I didn't I got Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Duke. That's 4. UConn
Right.
5. Iowa State 6. I didn't go to 7 and 8 and 9. I skipped them. That's where my head. That's crazy. So let's go with 7, Illinois. I told you about Illinois. Number 9 is Nebraska. Nebraska I watched them yesterday out of the Big Ten. They lost a tough game yesterday in overtime, but I love their player, Reen Mask. He fouled out. They came back. They were down like 18, and they came back to tie it. They lost in overtime. I mentioned Michigan State. Kansas, Michigan State. And like another one I got to sneak in there tied with Michigan State is Florida out of the SEC. They're playing great ball. They were last year's champion, really well coached. They got big height and length, tremendous height and length. If you don't have that, you're not going to compete with Florida. They have Thomas Howe, great forward. Ruben Chinaloo, their center, is a beast. He's a beast. He's like 7 feet. He grabs every rebound. So that's my top 10.
Yeah.
Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Duke, UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas, and Michigan State, Florida, kind of tied for 10th. How close was that?
Well, so the end was so it was Illinois, then Nebraska, then Kansas.
Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas, then Michigan State, Florida, in the 10th spot. I can't separate those two.
Florida. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So
how many did I get in the top 10?
Yeah, basically you got all the top 10.
Did I?
I mean, basically you have 11 because you have Florida as well. You kind of threw them in there, right?
Right.
By the way, Florida, the AP has Florida ranked 14th. Actually,
okay.
They have North Carolina. They have North Carolina, Gonzaga, and Purdue in front of Florida. But man, you are very close here. So basically, the AP. So you and the Associated Press are flipped with Michigan and Arizona. The AP have Arizona, then Michigan. You have Michigan, then Arizona.
Right.
You both have Houston in the 3rd spot. You both have Duke in the 4th spot. You have UConn after Duke. They have Iowa State after Duke. And then basically Iowa State and UConn are flipped between you and the AP. Then Nebraska's next. And then Kansas. Kansas is 9th with both of you. And then Michigan State is 10th with both of you as well. And you have them kind of tied with Florida. So, man, you hit the nail on the head.
Not bad,
you hit the nail right on the head, let me tell you what.
You're surprised, huh?
Yeah, very, very impressive, I got to say. You were talking about that Nebraska game. I was watching that game last night, and they did come back. The Hoiberg magic, his kid. I was telling my buddy, it's a shame that his son Hoiberg he just didn't grow. He looks like he's like 5'10", 5'9" out there on the floor. Even Steph Curry kind of looks small out there in the NBA, but even Steph Curry 6'2".
Yeah.
But unfortunate for him. But Arizona, obviously they took that loss to Kansas. I know you and I were talking off camera the other day about Kansas maybe winning the whole thing, maybe taking a flyer on them. But the price I think was at the time when we were talking was about 16-1, I believe.
Yeah,
And
I wanted 25-1 on that one. You
yeah,
know,
so and
um,
that
yeah,
might have even come down now, considering they just beat Arizona. So
yeah. You cannot win without great guard play, and there's a lot of great guards.
that is true.
You can't win without depth, and that's Michigan's strength. They go nine deep, and all nine are solid players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, they're really good. I mean, Houston, Kelvin Sampson is probably one of my favorite, probably my favorite coach in the game. He's they're goons. I mean, you can't get rebounds off of them. They crash the glass. They have good guard play. They lost their guard. Both Florida lost their guard uh, last year, who was great on their championship team. But now they got tremendous strength and length, and their center, like I said, Ruben Chenelis, he's unbelievable. He's 7 foot tall. He's a beast.
Yeah,
So but you got to have great guard play. But I've never seen a year with such good guards, and a lot of them
yeah.
are freshmen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, like you said, it's the greatest freshman class since 1981, which is elite company right there. So you snuck Florida in there in your top 10, and they are playing Georgia tonight. I'll just throw out a play for the people viewing right now because we'll get this. This will probably be out, I imagine, within the next couple hours. This game does go off tonight. But Florida is playing Georgia here, big rivalry, right? And they're laying, well, they were laying 9.5 points. I'd actually be interested to see if that's still the case. But it opened at 7.5 and shot right up to 9.5. But I was right on them out of the gate. And the reason is their size, right? I mean, you alluded to, how big they're big. I mean, they have a clear and decisive size advantage over Georgia here tonight. So I think Florida is just going to crush them on the board. There's a reason they're on the road and they're laying almost double digits. So I like Florida tonight. I don't like laying a lot of points on the road with college basketball teams, college football too in general. But I just think Florida is just going to crush Georgia on the boards. And Georgia, they score a lot of points, but I don't know that they'll necessarily do that against Florida. So
Well, when you
I
get
do like
rebounds,
Florida.
when you get rebounds, you get more possessions, and more
You do,
possessions equal more points, and
you
with
do,
good teams.
absolutely. So what are you thinking about the national championship? I know you kind of like Kansas. Who else do you think might be
Well,
worth a
I
flyer?
don't real Kansas is a throwout unless Darren Peterson is playing. I mean, they cannot win without. I don't care that they won the other night. They're not.
Yeah,
You got to have Darren Peterson, and they have a huge edge playing. On their home court. Allen
right.
Fieldhouse, you can't win. You can't. I told you that night. I think that night you picked um the
Arizona.
team again, Arizona, and I said to you,
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
Arizona on
Arizona.
paper is the better team, but Allen Fieldhouse is like one of those, impossible places. And Kansas was a dog. Now, once nobody knew he wasn't
Yeah,
playing until at 10 minutes before the game, not even the coach. So that line went from 2.5 to five and a
right.
half within like puff, and like everybody got wiped out, but
Yeah,
Allen Fieldhouse can't win there. Look, I like Gonzaga, but Gonzaga always gets to where they get and then they implode. That's it, right? Like I would put Gonzaga in the 12, 13 ranking. BYU, another team in the 12, 13, 14. Then you get a team like Purdue. I don't like Purdue at all. Like, they're going to get to a certain point. I don't even know if they make the Sweet 16 or maybe they get knocked out early. I'm not a big Purdue fan. The Big 12 is the stronger conference, but they beat up on each other. They beat the hell out of each other. And when it comes down to the tournament, they play the Big 12 tournament. They kill each other. Now they come back in
yeah,
the NCAA tournament. What do they have left? Houston is always going to be around because they're just animals. I know how they're coached.
yeah.
It doesn't matter that they get beat up. They'll beat you up. They'll keep beating you up until they're dead. So,
Very defensive oriented head coach, right? For sure. Um, Yeah, I was taking a look at you mentioned BYU, that you really like BYU. They're actually, they're not getting much love in the rankings. They're actually kind of far down there. They're number 22 out of
Yeah,
the
I
25
mean, look,
spots, which I thought
they're
was
not
kind of
going.
interesting. I thought,
They're not going all the way. They're not going to the Final Four, but they're a good team. It could be matchup problems for some teams. They got maybe the best player in the country, at least the top three. Tabanza, he's fantastic.
yeah,
He
yeah,
can throw in 30 points at any time. So but I don't. Those teams out of those conferences, like Gonzaga, they get to a certain point and then they just get beat up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dybonsta, he's leading the nation in points per game, 24.5 points per game out of BYU. So I know they have a pretty strong trio of players, but yeah, I guess they fell 6 spots in the latest poll. I guess due to their last loss, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
they're
give you a dark horse.
BYU's a good team.
I'll give you a dark horse, but I can't take them to go further than maybe the Sweet 16 as a dark horse. It's because they don't have great guard play. Simple as that. If they had any of these guards like Kingston Flemings, Keaton Wagler, forget about it. You could go all the way with them, and that's St. John's. Any team
Yeah.
coached by Coach Pitino, I mean, my son was on Coach Pitino's team. My second son was the most valuable player in the 2013 championship in Luke Hancock. I would go to practices. I owned a horse with Pitino. I know him well. I hang out with him at Saratoga. The guy is tremendous. Defensively, there's no one better. No one better
Yeah.
defensively than Coach P. Nobody. His practices, his practices are harder than the games.
Yeah, I believe it. I think I've heard that before. I've heard he cracks the whip in practice. But he beat UConn too.
They wear helmets in practice.
Wow, that's great.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they look fantastic versus UConn. I kind of actually liked UConn in that game too. And St. John's came out. They played at MSG. I guess they're playing, a few games at MSG in the middle of the year here. Normally they play in Queens, but
they play a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
Quite a few at the Garden.
Yep. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You have the Wiz's top 10 compared to the AP top 10, and I was going to recap here. Okay, so Wiz's top 10. We got Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Duke, UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas, and maybe either Michigan State or Florida. So you heard it from the Wiz right here, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoyed another episode of the Wizards Crystal Ball. I did throw out Florida. I like Florida tonight on Wednesday evening. If you guys can get that play in on time, I'm sure it probably tips at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Wiz, you got anything on the way out?
No, I think we covered a lot. I think we'll focus in on college basketball at least once a week. Really delve once or twice a week. We're going to talk about some handicapping angles in in basketball that I have, that I like to use as betting tools that I'll discuss. I mean, now it's hoops for me. I'm not an NBA guy. I'm not a hockey guy. I'm not a badminton guy. I'm not a billiards guy. I'm NCAA hoops, buddy. And I'll be going to the Final Four with my son. Right. Hoops and horses. That's it.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Wizards Crystal Ball, and we will be back Friday for another episode. And also later this evening, keep an eye out for the Wizards Sports Layer. I'll be doing that with a couple guys as well. And don't forget to go over to the website and check it out. All sorts of great handicappers over there. Grab yourself a package, make some money. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. We will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out and keep firing.